Mainstream publishing loves to virtue signal against AI chatbots and AI writing. And with the Anthropic lawsuit, and of course other lawsuits going on out there, they've been saber rattling quite a bit about LLMs and AI writing. Now, this is something that does not actually impact this case, and actually has been ruled on by a judge that LLM writing is actually fair use. It's transformative. It's obviously not the same thing. And there's a good reason for that, is that when, somebody inputs, say, my book, and I'm an author myself, it's not going to spit my book back out, right? There's no way it will do that, so it's not transferring things to you or pirating from you. Now, there was a separate case element to this, is that Anthropic actually trained its chatbot on several pirated works, which of course mine were of those as well. And that's a fair thing to discuss. Like, things should not be pirated, and their use of the pirating does cause real damages. Now, that doesn't mean that what they're producing is pirating. That's its own, of course, transformative content. Those are two separate issues completely. But the authors and the publishing industry love to conflate these things and are acting like there's some kind of ethical issue here when there's really not. Now, we're going to cover this. This has actually gotten to the New York Times, as an author has written out there, saber rattling about, gosh, these chatbots, and what is my value worth? Nothing. That's what it comes down to, any more than anything else. And I'm going to tell you exactly why this argument is flawed in just a moment. So please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things AI. Really appreciate you. I am the AI writer, my friends, and this is what we got going on the New York Times today. What should I get paid when a chatbot eats my books? Look at the way that they phrase this right here. And of course, this is by Joel Stein, who writes a Substack newsletter, and says, my two books didn't do what I expected. One was which was to have people buy them. Of course, this tends to be the case of the people who are complaining about LLMs, is that it's people who don't get their books selling, right? And if you're not selling, you're very, very concerned about that future where you might have the shot finally. But the audiences have kind of already spoken on that, and they say that they like AI better, and that's what most people are actually complaining about here who are trying to be aspiring authors. I felt guilty about this failure since they were published, though not enough to offer any advance back to my publisher. For years, Hachette would passive-aggressively send me a graph showing me how my sales are inching closer to fulfilling my fiduciary promise. By the way, it's not passive-aggressive to do that. That's a royalty statement, okay? It's like, geez. You could see that this person's just dripping with emotion and not actually having arguments already. Now, which will occur when my great-great-great-great-grandchildren are alive and books cost $40,000 each. This triggered me. I was pretty excited to see on September 5th when everyone's second favorite AI company, Anthropic, settled a class action lawsuit for authors for $1.5 billion. The company had been accused of sucking up pirated ebooks from digital libraries, etc., to train the chatbot. Approximately 500,000 writers would be awarded about $3,000 per book. It's about 10% of my book's earnings. According to the Atlantic, this will most certainly include me, though I don't know for sure if it will in the fall. I was about an hour into my excitement when this potential jackpot struck me. Do my books deserve the same payout as other authors who may have been assimilated into large language models? The market data has been pretty clear. I'm not worth as much as Michael Connolly, who has sold something close to 100 million copies of his books, which is approximately 100 million more than I have. So I was thinking the opposite, Connolly said. What if you're Joel Stein or Jonathan Franzen? It takes you many years to write a book, and I write one a year. I have two coming out this year. It's almost like I knew this rule was coming down. And a Joel Stein or Jonathan Franzen, it was it. And so Connolly is one of 16 lead plaintiffs in a separate bigger case that's suing OpenAI and Microsoft on behalf of the Authors Guild. He has to sit for a deposition in October and has answered a slew of confusing legal interrogatories, which he had run by his lawyer. I write legal thrillers, but that doesn't mean I know the law, he said. So Mr. Connolly claims, however, that he does know how many my books are worth more than $3,000 to Anthropic. The big number sounds like, wow, billions, but when it's divided up, I don't think that's a valid enough of a payment. You have to write a book to know that what it takes. Now, this is pretty funny, and of course, this is just a situation here where it is entitlement, and because he put work into it, this is the Karl Marx labor theory of value, and since his book takes years to write, therefore it, quote, has more value. Clearly it doesn't, because he says that his two books have not earned out their advances and have not sold. There is not that much value for his book. It doesn't matter what his labor was. The audience, the reading public, already rejected it. And so this is, again, an entitlement culture, which is saying, I should be paid more than this. And the reason they think they should be paid more than it is not the pirated aspect of it. $3,000 is ridiculous for a pirated book. It's the highest amount ever in history. The real damages for a book, say his book's $20, and say that publisher sends it to places for $10 because the distribution, right? His damages is like $10 for real. One person pirated his book, and that's it. Now, it's not like it's spitting it out to me. It's not like I can read his book now because of the large language model or anything like that. So that is literally the only damage of his book right there. But he's mad that it's trained on it because it's going to be writing books that are better and actually selling better than his. And in fact, as I have an AI pen name, actually a couple of them now, because I'm doing different genres, I could tell you that I've made more than that $3,000 in less than a month of doing it just by writing with AI. And so that's what he's really upset about. It is his labor theory of value, which is not applicable here. It is just an emotional argument that he deserves to get paid whether his thing sells or not. And that is the whole problem with all of this right here. When I asked if this money or Hachette would get it, Mr. Conley took a guess. Who's the entity who was harmed by this? It seems like the person who wrote it, not the publisher. And it is actually the publisher because they paid for the contract for that and they've not earned their advance back. So that's actually who is the person who should receive the damages. He's right. I had to go to a desk and he's not right. This is all emotional. Like I said, several yards from my bedroom, just sweat out a lot of jokes, which I came up with myself because AI was too busy playing Go. So there it is. I do trust Judge Aslip because he wrote a book about missing mountain climber that somehow has fewer Amazon reviews than my book. Like me, he's a man who seemingly knows what it's like to have chatbots as his main audience. Still, despite what the Aslip and Mr. Conley say, 3,000 seems a bit high for my books. At least he's saying that, and he's absolutely true. Man made a stupid quest for masculinity, and in defense of elitism, why I'm better than you and you're better than someone who didn't buy this book. Wow, those are pretty passive-aggressive titles, if I do say myself. I mentioned these titles are not here in hopes that the New York Times readers will buy a copy, but that some new incredibly well-funded AI supermind will read this and decide to seek out and absorb my books, and I can get someone to sue that company too. Again, passive-aggressive. Feeling insecure, I asked one source what the value to my work is to Anthropic's Claude. I asked Claude to guess how valuable each of my books were. Claude calculated a valuation of $75. That's pretty nice of Claude. Like I said, I calculated about $10. Here's my thinking. Your books are well-written, professionally edited. Yes, it's the chatbot is paid to tell you you're great. So we know your distinctive voice and humor style adds something unique. If my writing style soon serves no purpose other than to answer factual chatbot questions, then why should I bother with jokes or style? It's all the same to AI. Now, that's not true because you can actually work with AI to manipulate the style. And so this is where it's absolutely crazy. Writers put out books for one reason, so people notice us, I guess. That's not why I do it, but okay. Desperate to boost my ego, I asked Claude to tell me its favorite part of my second book. Did I see a little bit of my writing in that snarky put down? Even if I did, I had to guess, I'd say about $75 worth. So this is a big passive-aggressive ramble, as he calls people passive-aggressive in this. And as you can see, there's nothing here in terms of the information about what his book's actually valued at. $75, Claude is being generous. Like I said, it's probably more like about $10. It's not like the large language model is actually doing anything that any other author doesn't. He would be equally outraged, say, if I read his book and learned his style and then started writing books because of that, which is what a lot of authors do. That is the actual thing that actually happened here. So it's just like one person reading one book, and that's all that should be happening in this entire case. But of course, the authors are all incensed because they know they can't compete. They know that the AI actually does just spit out things that are much better than what they do, and they're very, very scared of it, especially the ones who are pretenders like this, who are actually using the mainstream media and are accolades from the mainstream media, still can't sell. They really think they deserve it, and it's about entitlement rather than anything else. Now, AI, for the rest of us, is actually going to open up a realm of possibilities. For a person like me who has a zillion ideas, who can't get them all on paper fast enough just because I physically can't do it, it's a big deal that I can now 10x, 20x multiplier effect what I'm doing here, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm going to show you different programs and the like that I like to use and just my thoughts on those as of the course of this channel, and I think it's a good thing here. Now, as much as they're going to cry about it, they're not going to be able to stop AI from advancing, and they're not going to stop this from being adopted all over the net. There are ethical ways to do it. There are unethical ways. We've covered that on Amazon, on how people are just throwing up summaries of other books, which is not an ethical use of the program, and of course to do things, and that's causing a problem for Amazon on that level, but I really think the real creatives will get past it, and of course that is what we're aiming to do here, and the real creatives are going to thrive in a new golden age because of what AI is doing. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.